They found love in their 80s, and because of it, an elderly couple will have to find a new place to live. 3 days after the pair tied the knot, they received an eviction notice in the mail. CTV's Caroline Bargout reports their combined pensions too high for them to live together.
When their spouses died a few years ago, 80-year-old Jacques Blackburn and 83-year-old Adrian Sutherland never thought they'd find love again. Then 1 year ago, they met each other at a bowling alley. The happy couple tied the knot this past weekend.
She's a very good person.
When they returned from their 2-day honeymoon in Fargo, Blackburn moved into this one-bedroom apartment with his wife, the same one she's lived in for the past 14 years. 3 days later, there was an eviction notice in the mail. The couple told their combined pensions of about $36,000 meant they made too much money to live in this low-income housing complex.
I'm sure there's a way out from this situation. It doesn't have to be this way because I've been here so long.
But the board of directors of this building says its hands are tied, and that if it were to make an exception for this couple, it would have to do it for everyone else.
The board says it's following the rules set out by the Manitoba Elderly and Infirm Persons Act, which states low-income tenants can't make more than 5 times the amount of a month's rent. Because of that, the newlyweds have been given 3 months to pack up their bags and leave.
It's a dilemma. We're not heartless, but the fact of the matter is they're in contravention of the rules. And we had no choice.
Right now we're walking with 200 pounds on our shoulder.
Sutherland has a heart condition. Blackburn fears the stress of a move will be too much for her to bear. The risk of losing her so great, he's willing to walk out on his new bride in order to save her life.
And to me, I know I'm going to separate. She doesn't want that, of course. Neither do I. But I will not put her in a hospital.
They thought they'd spend their lives alone, and then they found one another. Now they're fighting to spend what time they have left together in this place they call home. Caroline Bargout, CTV News, Winnipeg.
An update now to a story you first saw on CTV News back in October. After fighting for months to stay in their low-income apartment, an elderly couple says they can no longer fight the eviction.
Instead of getting ready for Christmas, they're preparing to move. With more, CTV's Caroline Bargout joins us now.
Caroline, I understand the stress of it all was just too much for them to take.
That's right, Marilee. Adrian Sutherland has been living in this building behind me for the last 14 years, but 2 months ago she got married, and since then she and her new husband have been fighting an eviction notice, but they've now decided to give up that fight.
When they said their I-dos, Jacques Blackburn and Adrian Sutherland never dreamed the first few months of their lives together would be like this. The couple, who found love again in their 80s, were told as a married couple they could no longer live in the one-bedroom apartment they shared, even though Sutherland had been living in it for the past 14 years.
It's hard to leave friends at 80 years old, you know.
The board of directors that runs the building says the couple's combined pensions of $36,000 puts them well over the amount permitted to stay in the low-income seniors complex. In October, the president told CTV News it was just following the rules set out by the Manitoba Elderly and Infirm Persons Act.
We're not heartless, but the fact of the matter is they're in contravention of the rules, and we had no choice.
Savoie didn't want to appear on camera this time around, but says the board does in fact have a choice and could petition the provincial government to make an exception to the rule and allow the couple to stay. He says the board has chosen not to do that because it doesn't want to set a precedent.
For the past 2 months, the newlyweds had been fighting to stay in their home, even offering to pay more rent, but were turned down. They'd planned on appealing the eviction, but after the stress of the situation sent Sutherland to hospital last month, the couple gave up the fight.
We're not going to miss this place. We're going to miss the surrounding, we're going to miss the people, and we're going to miss our little garden. Okay? But we ain't going to be prisoners no more.
Prisoners of a life that was supposed to be a second chance at love.
Yeah.
Blackburn and Sutherland were widowed when they met 1 year ago. Now that they found each other, they say they won't let anyone tear them apart.
The eviction is for January 15th. Blackburn and Sutherland have to leave their apartment in the next month. Today, they were very happy to tell me that they have found a new place to live. Unfortunately, the rent is almost double what they were paying here. So at 80 years old and 83 years old, they're now going to have to tighten their budget in order to survive.
All right. Thanks for this. CTV's Caroline Bargout reporting tonight.